Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Untethered Live on a Wednesday night, hump day. I'm your host, Jake Johnson. Tonight, we're going to talk about chicks in space and eggless chicks and bits of brain. We're a little braining on some ideas here. We're going to talk about the obvious. Captain Obvious in the room. Captain Obvious on the good ship. Yeah, that's not real. Amanda's here. She says, hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. Happy hump day, camel. I hope everybody had a good day. I hope everybody's doing well. How are you tonight? Full. I had a big old plate of spaghetti and 3 pieces of bread and butter. Yummy. Kevin Cox is first in chat, though. That's what's important. What's up, Kevin? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, my friend. You get the gold star tonight. Been a while since you got one of those. Amanda says, here's your gold star. What's going on with you guys? How's life treating you out there in the big easy? Amanda says, hi, Kevin. Aaron's here. He says, release the Kraken. What's up, Aaron? Good to see you, my friend. Amanda says, hi. Aaron says, what's up? Currently a light above my head and 3 in front of my face. Amanda says, what's up, man? How you doing? And Amanda says, Jake Kraken, Jake Kraken, Jake Kraken, Jake Kraken, Jake Kraken, Jake Kraken, Jake Kraken. Kevin says, hello, Aaron. Aaron says, today is my daughter's birthday, and I just got back from dinner with her. Aw, that's so sweet. Yeah, my daughter's birthday is December the 30th, and my son's birthday is November 7th. So that's on the other side of the year. But I know what you're talking about. I'm glad you got to have dinner with her. That's lovely. And happy birthday, Aaron's daughter, if you're watching. Aaron says, hello, Mr. Kevin. And Amanda says, nice, man. How many kids you got? My son's 16th birthday was the 13th. It was a couple days ago. Aaron says, I have 2, a boy and a girl. Me too. I have 3 kids, 1 of each. Aaron says, oh, I read that one. Amanda says, cool, man. And Amanda says, 2 that you know about, LOL. Have you been laying the pipe? Amanda says, can you dig it? Yes, I can. Aaron says, Maury voice, you are not the father. Oh, but you are. Amanda says, LOL, right. Aaron says, LOL. AC/DC, always compassionate, doing caring. Back in black. Yeah, baby. Always compassionate, doing caring. I always thought it meant, let's see. Autistic Council on Discriminatory Characteristics. Bill Bennett says, LOL, feed Jake. I'm sure. Says BJ. Well, hello, BJ. Bill Bennett, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. And yes, please do.
Feed Jake, now I lay me down to sleep. Pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, feed Jake, my best friend, right through it all, VJ. If I die before I wake.
Oh, VJ. I've been a good doggy. All right, enough of that nonsense. Aaron says Jake's shirt fits him. Thank you, sir. I like AC/DC. It's a good band. It's a good shirt too. It's not the cheap one. It's actually got texture. It's a textured shirt. It's hard to find a good AC/DC shirt these days. I want one of the original ones. I hadn't found one yet. One day I will, though. And I want an original Rolling Stones with the tongue. I've got one, but it's a recreation. I want one from the 70s. Back in black. Hit the sack. Aaron says, I'm back in black. Amanda says, LOL, yeah. It says that at the bottom. Yep. Back in black. Aaron says, I know I was being funny. I got you. I knew what you were doing. I saw what you were doing there. Linda Davis, hello, sweetheart. She says, hi. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Amanda says, hi, hun, with a mystery heart. Kevin Cox says, going Italian tonight. Starter is jalapeno poppers. Dinner is lasagna. Dessert will be cheesecake. Viva la Mexico. I hear you, buddy. I had spaghetti, so I was Italian tonight, too. And it was delicious. Big old plate. Big heaping whistle while you work type of plates. It was good, though. Linda, what'd you have for dinner? Aaron says, oh, and she went and got a Bible. She told me. My daughter did. Fantastic. And tell her I said you're welcome. I would have gladly sent you one, though. Because that's my job. Amanda says, nice, Aaron. And Bill Bennett says, I've got some cool pics from the Stones. My dad snuck to the front. Cameras wasn't allowed. I'll dig them out and send you some. That would be nice, Bill. I'd love to see those. I'd put them right up here and share them with everybody. Thank you. I'd love to see some old pictures of the Stones. Aaron says, she can hear you. All right. Well, listen, little lady. You stick your nose in that Bible and you don't look up until you understand some stuff. I promise you that'll be the best investment you ever make in your life. And I'll be right here on Untethered Live 5 nights a week. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them for you. Your dad's a friend of mine. So you're a shoo-in. And if you don't know what that means, ask him. He'll tell you. Linda Davis says, I went out for dinner tonight, and we had hibachi. Nice. Was it like the real thing where they were like throwing stuff in front of you, cooking it? Or was it just like the hibachi grill? Vera Lynn says, hi. Hey, Vera. Welcome. Amanda says, nice, Linda. And Vera Lynn says, I had dinner tonight. I had Cheez-Its. Hey, Cheez-Its is an important food group. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Cheez-Its and some cheese whip, or whatever you call that. You know what I'm talking about. String cheese. No, that's not it. Cheese whiz. That's it. Linda says, hi, Rachel. Smiley face, wavy hand. And Amanda says, hi, Rachel. And Aaron says, facts, Jake. My brother from another. I appreciate that, man. Linda says, real deal. Oh, you had to cook and everything. That's awesome. Aaron says, good to see you, Rachel. Nice. I'm enjoying a nice hot cup of coffee with my hoarse voice. It is a regular cup of joe. That's the way I like it for show. Don't you want to have a cup with me and talk about chicks in space? If you do, go to the kitchen, pour a nice hot cup of coffee, and let's get this party started. Let's light this cherry bomb. If you don't have a cup, though, You can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one. It does have my face on it. It is fantastic. However, there are many new options down there. Go check it out, including stainless steel tumblers, a big one and a little one. They fit in your hand. They hold your coffee hot for hours. They have a locking lid. They look great on a coffee table. They have a wonderful Untethered Live Bible Study logo on the front. And if you chuck it at somebody, it'll leave a mark. So get one while supplies last. They're only going to be there for a little while. And if you're real good, I may throw in a promo code later in the month and get you one for some 10% off or something like that, 20% if I can get it. Anyway, like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box. It makes the world go down a lot better. I appreciate that very much. Also, hit that Cash App, $JakeJohnsonBand if you love me. If you want to throw a little ℧𝕟𝕥𝕚𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝 in my pocket if you want to. You can do that right down there on that Cash App, $JakeJohnsonBand. One more thing. If you want to have a place you can hang out with everybody outside of the YouTuberverse, outside of their oppressive censorship and me having to read every word you say, if you want a place you can send videos, pictures, texts, and chats with one another, get to know each other real time, you can do that over at facebook.com/UntetheredLive family. It's all one word. The link is in the chat, and I would appreciate you checking that out. Now back to you. Amanda says, hoax, chicks in space. It looks like it. Aaron says, I had country fried chicken, sweet potatoes, and fresh bread. Oh, that sounds delicious, Aaron. I want to come to your house for dinner. You hear that? He had country fried chicken. Chicken. And sweet potatoes. And fresh bread. Yeah, it wasn't country fried. Amanda says, nice, Aaron. Linda says, nice, Aaron. Did you cook? Aaron says, it was Texas Roadhouse. Yes. He cooked with his wallet. Bill Bennett said, what's up? The AG that tried... what's up? The AG that tried to hem Trump up just got accused of fraud. The attorney general that tried to mess with Trump. Are you talking about AG Barr? Is that who you're talking about? Or are you talking about the current Trump attorney general, Pam Bondi? Or are you talking about Barr, or are you talking about the other guy with the glasses? I can't remember his name. The Biden one. What was his name? The one that tried to say Trump saw if she was kidnapped. Oh, she's not an AG. She's a senator. And you're talking about Gretchen Whitmer. That's the girl that tried to have herself kidnapped, and that failed miserably. But I think he's talking about the attorney general, past attorney general, whose name I can't remember right now. But it's not Barr. It's the next one up. I don't know. I haven't heard that accusation yet, Bill. Fill us in if you know anything. Aaron says, well, that's what she picked. Roadhouse, Texas Roadhouse. I hear you, man. It's delicious. I like Texas Roadhouse. We got something like that here called Longhorn. Longhorn Steakhouse. Amanda says, oh, man, their rolls and butter, the best ever, I bet. Aaron says, I know how they make it. I had a son that worked there. Got it. John says, hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm drunk as a skunk tonight. Well, that's all right, John. I'll move slow so you don't get seasick. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Aaron says, right, Jake, they are expensive as heck. Oh, yeah. You better believe it. But it's your girl's birthday. It was worth it, I'm sure. I don't go to those places because they're too expensive. I understand what you're saying. I hadn't been out eating a very long time. Hell, I spent a whole year, I eat nothing but a hot dog a day. One hot dog a day. That's it. That's all I ate for the entire year. You got to do what you got to do sometimes. Amanda says, oh, You're going to have to send me the recipe, please. Nice. The recipe for those butter rolls. Those are what I was talking about before. A few podcasts back, we were talking about bread. And there's a shiny, big, round, shiny bread. And it's very buttery. It's very, feels like it's got butter all over it. But it tastes like honey or something like it. It's very sweet when you bite into it. It's like a breath of fresh air. The best rolls on planet Earth. But I don't know where to get them or even what they're called. We were guessing back then. Amy Elizabeth, hey, darling, she says, evening, y'all. I'm at home. I'm sick. I took some PTO. It's pneumonia, I think, like the ℂ𝕙. What is PTO? And I hope it's not pneumonia. But just in case, make certain, regardless of what you do, number one, drink lots of water, and number two, turn over every 30 minutes. Do not lay in one spot, especially on your back or on the side that you're having trouble with. And if it's pneumonia, it feels rough on one side. Aaron says, I will, Amanda. It's just apple butter. Right on. I like apple butter on some things. Apple butter on raisin toast. That's a delicious cinnamon raisin toast. That's delicious. Apple butter. Yummy. Amanda says, hi, Amy. And Linda says, I made country fried steak the other night. Yes, I like country fried steak. I hadn't had that in a long time either. I like my steak cooked medium well on a grill. But country fried is nice. That's what you do when you have a thin steak. Country fried. Makes it go down better. Amanda says, oh, no, Amy. Get well, hon. Aaron says, oh, dang. Feel better, Amy. Bill Bennett says, brand new today. A prosecutor. The allegation is brand new today from a prosecutor. Got it. Well, the previous attorney general, I'm trying to think of his damn name. I can see his face. Garland. A.G. Garland. That was his name. The one with the glasses and the beady eyes. Amanda says, I heard it today. Fraud on her property or something like that. You're still thinking about Gretchen Whitmer. She's not an attorney general. She's a senator of Pennsylvania or something, somewhere up north. Might be Wisconsin. I don't know. One of those places up north. I think she's a senator. I might be wrong about that, too. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. Amanda said, Aaron says, we have Longhorn too, right? Well, I don't have Texas Steakhouse, but I do have a Longhorn. I think that's the only steakhouse we got in town too. There might be another one, but I can't think of what it would be. I live right in between 3 big towns. So there might be one in the other 2 towns, but the only one I go to is Greenville, and that's the closest one. And then there's Goldsboro and Kinston. So there might be one in Goldsboro or Kinston, but I don't know about it. I don't go to those places unless I have to. Amy says, whoever guessed starter on my truck was correct. It's a $150 part, but my mechanic friend will fix it for me when I get it. Amen. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Somebody said something about a starter. I think it was Aaron. Aaron or John. I don't remember. Amanda says, hi, John. The other John. Bill Bennett says, Gretchen Whitmer may be hell. I can't remember what I learned, but was juicy. Okay, Gretchen Whitmer is a fraudster. She does a lot of weird stuff, but she's not the attorney general. She's either a senator or governor or something like that of one of those states up north. And she's tried to have herself kidnapped before and then blame it on Trump. She did that and got caught. She said a number of things that were factually incorrect. She's kind of a hot mess. Amy says, my friend towed it back to the house for free. Well, that's fantastic. I'm glad you got somebody to take care of you. I wish you guys lived closer. I'd be out there running around taking care of you guys, but you're not too close, so I can't do that. But I'd like to. Aaron says, I ate out a PB and J jar, a peanut butter and jelly jar, and dollar store bread for months before. Oh yeah, you and I are the same. Yes, you do what you got to do, man. I've had peanut butter times, but most of the time I've been able to like buy a package of hot dogs and it'd last me the week or whatever, or a couple of cans of potted meat. I've done that before. I'm eating good now. I'm eating like a king. When she first got here and she cooked me a dinner, I sat there looking at my plate and I was like, I could eat on this for a month. It took me a month to eat this much. And now I got to figure out how to eat it all, you know. But I'm eating good now. Kevin says, hey, I got something you hadn't seen in a while. Kevin Cox Sports Update. He says that the NHL, the hockey for Jake, playoffs starts this week. Tampa Lightning plays the Florida Kitty Cats in the best of 7. Go Bolts! Back to you, April. All right, Kevin, thank you for the sports update. I hadn't seen one of those in a while. I was beginning to think you didn't love me anymore. You don't call, you don't write. Amanda says, I figured, Amy. I'm glad you got it home. And Amy says, PTO stands for paid time off. Oh, okay. I was trying to think of what kind of medications PTO meant. Like potassium, taurine, and oxygen or something like that. Aaron says, I'm glad you got help, Amy. Me too. And Amanda says, something about claiming taxes in one state and living in another. That sounds like something a Democrat would do for sure. They seem to be unaware of how retarded they sound. And yes, I'm using the word retarded. You're not going to make me stop using it. You can kiss my ass where it looks like a fig if you think I'm gonna. I like the word retarded. I happen to know what it means. It means to refrain or to slow down or to be dull. So retarded, they sound retarded. And if you don't believe me, Joe Biden just did a speech yesterday for some reason, something about Social Security and a whole lot of stammering about where he's from, which changed like 4 times during the speech. It is a sad reminder of what we were just a year ago, just a few months ago, actually. It seems like another lifetime. Trump has done so much since he's been president that it feels like another time zone or another lifetime away when Biden was here ruining the world. And to hear him talk during this speech, it's as if he had no idea that he caused the problem that he's discussing. Like it was like he's trying to make it sound like it's all Trump's fault. And I'm like, yeah, no, you did that. You're the one. You're the reason we're in this mess. Trump is trying to dig out of it. Yes, it's going to be difficult, but he's trying to move forward from that. You caused it. You were the president. And it's like he blank face, no idea that he's the reason for the things he's discussing. Retarded. Anyway. Governor of Wisconsin. Thank you, Amy. Yeah, Gretchen Whitmer's the governor of Wisconsin. I knew it was up there somewhere. Letitia James is in trouble for having 2 different properties, 2, I think. Letitia James needs to go to jail, Amy. She overstepped big time. She opened her mouth and inserted both feet when she went after Trump. And I have never seen revenge gone bad so much as the look in her face when Trump did not go to prison and then became the president. Just look at that woman's face. These people are so bitter and so wound up. I don't think they can not do what they're doing. I think they are bound, and they're like a star hurling towards a black hole. They're bound. They're locked in a death spiral, and there's nothing they can do to pull out of it. And they're just corkscrewing their way to their demise. It's amazing to watch. It really is. I can't believe we live in the world we live in. And I was thinking about that today. Suppose I told you that God and the devil were real. That's a real thing. Just stay with me. Suppose I told you that, and that the devil runs the world. Like he's the boss of the world. What would you expect to see if that were true? And it was definitely true. What would you expect to see? Well, the devil, by its very definition, is a trickster. He's the tempter. His job is to trick you into believing something that is not reality, to fool you into going away from God. So then you look at everything around us. You look at the beer bug thing a couple years ago. You look at the World Health Organization and World Economic Forum, and you look at what MSNBC and CNN are doing. Look at the Washington Post and the New York Times and all that they do, and John Oliver on TV spouting lies, and you just look at everything that's out there, and it's exactly what you would expect to see if the devil ran the place. People lying to your face, gaslighting you on a daily basis, and then claiming to be victims of the thing they caused, claiming to try to be fixing the thing they caused, and talking with passion. Listen to Joe Biden's speech, and he sounds like he's talking to a baby. He's giving you hope. He's trying to nurture you into believing in something. He's trying to rally the troops. And I'm like, you caused all of this. What are you doing? That's what a hero does. He talks with compassion and rallies the troops. You're not a hero. You're the villain. You don't get to be the villain and do the stump speech. You can't do both. Anyway, we live in a fallen world, and everything is bullshit. Everything. Everything. If you think it's true, believe me, it's bullshit. Everything. Everything. One day I'm going to write a book about it. I have to. I have to get that off of my chest so that you can live with it. Aaron says, this one has a steak shop in it, and you can buy their steaks. I never go either, right? I bet their steaks are quite expensive. I like the idea of those online places like Moink Box, where you can order a box of meat, and they'll send you like the prime cuts. You can order specific cuts, and they'll send it to you in a box overnight, and you can just put it in your freezer. I like the idea of that, but them things are so expensive, it's ridiculous. There's like 3 times as much as meat should cost. I guess you get what you're paying for, but damn. Amanda says, I hear you in the PB&J, Aaron. He won't live on hot dogs as long as I'm here. And as soon as I found out that's what he was doing, I had groceries sent to him almost weekly before I got here. This is true. She did. But I was trying to tell her, and she didn't believe me. I'm not eating because I can't afford to eat. I'm not eating because I'm trying to lose weight. I got up to almost 300 pounds. I know you can't believe that looking at me, but it's true. I was 298 pounds when I decided to start losing weight. 298 pounds. I'm 5'9". That's a lot of midsection. Linda Davis says, Amy, I just had to have a starter put on my truck. $820, and a little more than a week later, I finally got my truck back today. That's crazy, Linda. Why on earth would it cost $820 to put a $50 or $75 starter, or $125 starter on your truck? That don't make any sense. I changed the price because I realized while I was talking, it's been a while since I bought a starter. The last time I bought one, I got it for $50. But I'm sure they're more expensive now, but not $820. That's crazy. Even the labor's only $50. It's 2 bolts holding the thing in. 2 bolts and 2 wires. I think they're bolted on too, but still. Amy says, "Oh, wow, Linda, that's horrible. Lucky I got a guy who helps with my mechanical needs." Yes, most definitely. She does too. That's why I'm asking. You might have got backhanded there. Aaron says, "Amanda, that's why he got smart and kept you. He always says what you mean to him." I'm not an idiot, Aaron. Believe that. If there's one thing you can say about old Jake, you can call him an asshole. You can say all kinds of he's mean. He's serious as a heart attack, mean as a rattlesnake. But he ain't stupid. He knows where his bread is buttered. Believe that, man. She ain't going nowhere. Amanda says, "Right, Aaron. He knows who's going to take care of him no matter what." Aaron says, "That's such a good thing. It really is. Aaron, I'm not lying to you. I spent 15 years alone. 15 years. I was living like a monk. I was living life like Kwa Chang Kang, roaming from town to town, solving crimes with my kung fu, but nobody in the picture. When my kid's mother left, that was it. I closed up shop. And I had no intentions of opening it back up until she came around. And that was just a roll of the dice, luck of the draw. So I understand her importance. Don't tell her I said that, though. She'll start thinking I'm a nice guy." Amy says, "Fried bologna with shredded cheese on toast." I like fried bologna every now and then. I'm not a big bologna fan, but I do like fried bologna. And if I'm going to eat bologna, it's got to be beef bologna because I don't like that chicken stuff. I don't like the chicken hot dogs either, but that's what I grew up eating, so it's kind of what I'm used to. So when I get the beef hot dogs, they taste funny. That's just because I'm not used to it. Bill says, "This was real estate fraud, which she has put people in prison for. Also said Trump's Mar-a-Lago was only worth $10 million. Yeah, I think Letitia James is the one that did that. And they said $17 million. The front steps are worth $17 million. The furniture is worth $17 million. Anybody that knows anything about real estate, it's got oceanfront property on both sides. It's surrounded by ocean. And it's right in the middle. And there's big properties all the way around it. And each one of those properties are worth a couple $1 million each. So, yeah, Mar-a-Lago is worth a lot more than $17 million. Amy says, "It doesn't look like Jake has put on a few pounds since Amanda has been cooking for him." It don't? Well, thank you. You don't see my midsection, though. You only see my face. I carry it well. It's all down here. It does look like I put on a few, probably. Yeah, I probably have. I've definitely bounced back a little bit. I did tell her a couple weeks ago she had to stop feeding me so good because my pants were getting tight. I mean, she bakes me cookies twice a week. I mean, come on. That's got to stop. I'm a man and all, but Jesus. Amanda says, "Yep, he's just a well-loved, spoiled old man." See how she talks to me? Old man. Horrible. Amy says, "I'm tired, then get tired again, so I'm retired. but it still worked. Yeah, that makes sense. Amanda says, LOL, Amy. He told me I have to stop feeding him so good because his pants are getting snug. I think I just told that story. Amy says, food baby. Food baby. Kevin says, Jake is in great shape, Amanda, for a 70-year-old. Right on. Yep. Amanda says, LOL. Well, he's got fresh baked cookies and full meals every night and breakfast and dinner on the weekends. I ain't complaining. I ain't been fed that good since my mama was alive. Dana, she says the Biden speech was pathetic clown show. Greetings. Hey, Dana, how are you? Nice to see you, sweetie. Yes, it was. It was retarded. I tried to listen to it, but I got lost like within the first 5 minutes. He'd start a story and then interrupt himself with a second story and then interrupt that story with a third story and then say the word Social Security. I have no idea what he was talking about. Amanda says, LOL, Kevin, you got room to talk, old man. Hi, Dana Hun. Hart. And Dana says, hi, Amanda Hart. Kevin Cogg says, hey, Dana, Biden is still alive? Well, that's debatable, Kevin. That is debatable. He might not be. Some think that he's a clone or that there's two Bidens. One's really tall for some reason. Amy says, my son is special needs. He's autistic, but he's not retarded. He's smarter than the Democrats. He's smarter than the Democrats. No offense taken. I don't consider that retarded. That's a mental handicap. That's not retarded. I know that some people use the word retarded to describe. The word retarded became popular with Down syndrome people. That's what people were calling retarded. But it's actually a musical term from previous times, back when they would write scores like Beethoven and Chopin and people like that. A retard is a refrain from the end of a phrase to slow down. Like if you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then you hit the end of that phrase, then you go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a retard, right? So when I use the word retarded, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not directing that at any person. And if I say a person is retarded, I mean they're slowing down. I don't mean that they're mentally handicapped. Autism is debatable whether that's a handicap or not. Anyway, so you could argue that's a advantage. I don't know yet. The math is still out on that one. Vera Lynn says, LOL, there are dumb Republicans too, Amy. Not by comparison. No, I've seen some dumb Republicans, but if you line them up to a Democrat, you're like, really? This guy's got the Nobel Peace Prize compared to that guy. But you're right, there are dumb Republicans too, but they're usually Democrats in disguise. Amanda says, oh, and fresh tea, so you don't have to drink Mountain Dew all the time. Well, I like drinking Mountain Dew all the time. I like tea, too. And Dana says, Kevin Cox, he is dead as a rusty nail, in my opinion. I agree. Amy Elizabeth says, Vera, yep, MTG, for example. You think Marjorie Taylor Greene's dumb? I don't know much about her, but Amanda says, definitely, Dana. I was like, WTF is he talking about? I couldn't finish he couldn't finish a story before he went into another one. Yeah, it was kind of weird. And also, why was he giving a speech? He's not the president anymore. Nobody cares what he's got to say. I heard him say something about an award, so it's possible he was giving a speech after receiving some kind of an award, but I didn't see that part. I don't have any idea what they would have awarded him for. His presidency was a disaster, so what kind of award is he getting? Dana says, yes, Amanda, horrible embarrassment. Bill says, why are we so divided? The USA has to find common ground and find the Lord and love one another, or our great country will fall. We are on the downslide. Well, Bill, unfortunately, that's what happens to empires. They rise and then they fall. And they always have, and presumably they always will. We're empire in motion, so we don't know yet how it's going to turn out, but I would assume it'll go just like history always has gone, and this will eventually be China or something. Anyway, we are divided precisely because we live in a fallen world who is ran by the devil, and the devil's job is to trick people into believing things that aren't true, as I was talking about earlier, and that's precisely what we see, and there's a lot of it. And it's more than you care to know. Everything is bullshit. Everything. It's all bullshit. Every institution that you think is real, turns out it's not. And I'll give you an example. For the past 20 years, the psychological industry has been ramping things up. 1 in 10 kids are now diagnosed autistic or some version of that, ADHD, that sort of thing. Something. There's always something. And then you begin to ask yourself, well, where were these people 25 years ago? How come it's gotten so drastically different now as opposed to back then? And then you ask yourself, well, what's going on? Well, this week, the New York Times put out an article about ADHD, adult attention deficit disorder. And it was the scientists who did the initial studies back in the day. And you can go look this up for yourself. I'm not making anything up out of whole cloth here. But they were talking about feeling apprehensive about their initial studies, how they felt like they didn't do a good job, how the information that they put out has been misused and now it's turned into an industry. And it turns out that they were wrong. Now, this is in the New York Times, and this is what they'll admit to today, that they were wrong about ADHD. So basically what you're saying is, for the past 20 years, we've been doping our kids with speed, Ritalin, that's legal methamphetamines, for no reason at all. It turns out ADHD is just boredom. They've discovered boredom. Turns out that when you're doing something you want to do, it magically goes away. So there's that. That's one thing. That's what they'll admit to. Then you couple that with what we went through the past 4 years, all of the science and the things that they made up just because they could, and then you start asking, well, who are the experts? If we have to depend on experts, who are they and what are they experts of? Then you find out there are no experts at the top of these things. It's just a politician who invents things to keep things moving and usually to make money. So that's one area of bullshit. It's everywhere. It's rampant. It is systemic. It is throughout the nation, throughout the world. Everything you know of is touched by it. We live in a carefully crafted facade that is not real. There you go. Every rule that you think you have to follow is enforced because somebody said so, not because it makes any sense. Every law that you have to abide by was invented by a person for a reason, not because it's that way, but because they said so. Think about that for a minute. Just think about it. Take your identity out of it. Most people are very identically connected to the things they believe in, such as the moon landing. That's why people get so upset about it when I talk about it. Even though they know I don't believe that, and I just like talking about it, they still get upset. I think I lost a follower the other night because of this very conversation. Anyway, it starts to make you wonder, why is everything bullshit? How did we get here? How did we come to the position where everything is bullshit? These imposed rules and sanctions and ideas that force our lives into dichotomies are all made up. How did we get here? How did we allow this to happen? How come somebody didn't stand up and say, yeah, I'm not doing that? Turns out the devil runs the world, and he's very good at his job. And it's up to us to break that programming and see reality. It's one of the reasons this podcast exists. I don't know if I will ever succeed in illuminating the reality that I see, but I'm trying. Amanda says, absolutely, Dana. They shouldn't have let him be in front of a camera at all. Right. But that, Bill, that's precisely why we're divided. And if that's the case, finding common ground may not be a possibility. We may have to just agree to disagree or live in separate tribes. I don't know. Amanda says, Toyota puts their starters under the intake manifold now. I have no clue why. I do. I know exactly why. Because you have to pay somebody to get to it. My Harley is the same way. It's designed in such a way that if you don't know how to do it, it's not intuitive. You can't just do it. You'll tear it up. You have to have experience in doing it. You have to know which tools to use because they're not regular tools. They make special tools so that you have to have that tool to open that thing, and a screwdriver won't work. And it's to make money. When in reality, they could design that where one bolt holds everything together. One bolt. And everything packs in on top of it. But they don't do it that way. Vera says, I feel bad for Biden. I have mixed feelings about Biden. I would feel bad for him, except for the fact that he's the person that put himself in the position he's in. And just because his mind is failing now does not mean that 15, 20 years ago he didn't know exactly what he was doing. So I kind of feel bad for him, but I also kind of think he made this bed, let him sleep in it. Bill says, new cars shut off at stop signs and the starters are internal. Yeah, I've seen those. Don't like it. Vera says, do better, Amanda. Make Jake country fried chicken. Shaking my head. You go, girl. You tell her how it is. Amy Elizabeth says, I miss the days when you didn't need a computer to fix a car. Amen. I miss the days when you didn't need a toolbox to fix a car. Everything was a 9/16 wrench or a 1/2 inch. All you needed was a 1/2 inch, a 5/8, a 9/16, and a Phillips head screwdriver, and you could fix anything in the world. Then they decided they could make money if they made it harder. Amy says, my truck is a 2006 Dodge Ram, built Dodge Tough. It's an easy fix, just an expensive part. Right on. Well, if it's a truck, you should just be able to roll up under it, and there's the starter right there. I'm sorry that it's costed so much. I was asking, I think that was Linda who said that her starter was $850. It must be because of the type of car it is. That's just amazing to me. Where did Linda go? She hadn't said anything in a while. Dana says, Amanda, I think it was necessary to put him in front of the cameras as a reminder to us all how bad of a leader of the USA could be. How bad a leader of the USA could be. Good warning, right? That's a very good idea there. He was bad. And like I was saying earlier, he's up there talking with passion and whispering, like he's trying to evoke emotions from people like a hero would talk. And I'm like, you caused the things you're talking about. You can't cause the thing and then rally the troops to solve the thing. You can't do that. You're not the hero. You're the villain. Anyway. Amanda says, LOL, I guess I will, since he said something. But when I ask him what he wants, or if he wants something special, he never tells me. I can't read minds. I don't never tell you. I just tell you that whatever you cook, I will eat. It's a respectful thing. I'm trying to tell you that I'm not a picky man. I'm not hard to please. If you make it, if you go through the trouble to cook it, I'm going to eat it, even if I don't like it. Vera says, ha ha ha, well, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. And Linda says, the starter is $227 alone. The starter is under the manifold, so it had to be put on the lift and be disassembled to be put in. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I'm sorry you have to go through that. It shouldn't be that hard or expensive. It should be $150 and you're done. I don't know why they make things so complicated. Amanda says, right, Rachel. Linda said something about chicken and dumplings one night, and Jake says, oh, I'd like some chicken and dumplings, so I made him some. LOL, I got the hint. I hear you. That's paying attention now. Amy says, love y'all. Just stopped in to say hi. I'm going to bed. Amy, I hope you feel better, hon. Let us know if you need anything, okay? We love you too. Rest well. Take some of that PTO. Vera says, exactly, Amanda. Ha ha. And Vera says, sleep well, Amy. And Linda says, feel better, Amy. And Amanda says, good night, Amy. Feel better soon. Where did Aaron go? He just stopped talking. Aaron? There he is. Be right back. Now I know. And Amanda says, HB. Holla back. What does HB stand for? What does HB stand for? Hurry back. I thought it stood for holla back. Holla back, y'all. Bill Bennett says, that's why we stick together of like-minded peeps, Untethered Live family. Right on, Bill. We got to stick together. If we don't, this world will run us over. It's strength in numbers. We're bigger and better as a community, and we're here for each other, and more things can be accomplished when there's more heads involved. That's the way it used to be in the old days. People would tribe up, and their tribe would be successful because they were together. Well, we've reached that point in time again where we need to tribe up, and this tribe is important. Because in numbers, we can defeat anything. And we can make it through anything. Amanda says, well, if you want something you haven't had in a while, you gotta tell me, or I probably won't think to make it. I know that. And Kevin says, some men have LPD, large penis disease. Too bad it's not us, huh, Kev? Amanda says, OMG, Kevin. Silly fella. Anyway, did you guys see Blue Origin space flight? The historic flight of 7 women going into space for the first time ever? Except they've been sending women into space since the 60s, and it's in no way, shape, or form historical. The whole flight from ground to ground was 13 minutes. And it's fake. There's that, too. How do I know it's fake? Well, if you watch the footage, if you go find the footage and watch very closely, you'll notice that when it lands and the cameras are all looking at it, they're waiting on Jeff Bezos to open the door with this tool that he's walking around with in his hand. And they're out there standing near the pod, and the door opens, and then a woman runs up real quick and stands in front of the door until it closes. She says something and then walks away. And then 10 minutes later, here comes Jeff Bezos with the tool that he's been walking around with so that everybody could see it. And he does something to the door, and it pops open, and the girls emerge. Only they opened it from the inside without his help. It's fake. I don't know why it's fake, but it's fake. Explain to me why that is. Does anybody know? I don't. other than a publicity stunt, other than trying to build clout for women in the feminist movement or whatever, except for the fact that it's already been done several times and it's not that impressive at all. 11 minutes. Well, I heard 13, but 11 minutes. They went up, they came down, that's it. They did not go into space. They might have saw space, and then they turned around and came back. That's it. They didn't do anything while they were there. They didn't discover anything. They didn't triumph over anything. They didn't anything. They spent more time on their hair and makeup than they did going in and back down from space. Why are there chicks in space? Why does that matter? You remember the 2 astronauts that were stranded on the space station for 9 months because Biden wouldn't send anybody to help them? Do you remember those people? Not a word. Nobody even knows what their names are. But 7 women went into outer space on the Blue Origin penis rocket. Wonder why I'm calling it that? Go take a look at it. You tell me what you think. Just type in Blue Origin rocket and see what you think. Overcompensating much? I think so. So, what does all this mean? Nothing. That's what it means. Nothing. It's just a thing. It's a publicity stunt. That's all. Kardashians in space or whatever. Katy Perry. That's who it was. Katy Perry. Oprah Winfrey's friend. What's her name? Can't think of her name. And a few other people. All women sat idly while a rocket carried them up to space and back in 11 minutes. They didn't pilot the thing or learn anything. They called them astronauts, by the way, even though I doubt they even went weightless. They were gone 11 minutes. That's up and back. I don't even know how long it takes to get to outer space, but it's not that far up. So, what are we talking about here? They sat in a seat for 11 minutes. Historic journey. 7 women sat in a seat for 11 minutes, and nobody got in a wreck, and nobody cussed. So, there's that. They did have to install a rearview mirror so they could put on their lipstick. But other than that, pretty standard what they did. That's a roller coaster, LOL. That's it. They went up, they came down. That's it. They're calling it historic. They'll probably talk about it for the next 6 months. How these women broke the glass ceiling, how they achieved something for all person kind, because you can't say mankind anymore because that's, the patriarchy. It's all bullshit, says Amanda. I agree. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any thoughts on it? And also, have you noticed that it's hard to find eggs? I went to 3 stores that were out of eggs, all 3 of them, and they all said it'd be the next month before they could get a shipment of eggs. So, apparently the egg shortage has gotten worse. Here's the problem with that, though, and I'm having trouble because you can go buy as much chicken as you want anywhere. It's everywhere. You can go buy it at any store. You can buy chicken at the convenience store. You can buy it in a patty at the McDonald's. You can buy it in the grocery store. They're fully stocked up. No problems with chicken. But eggs have vanished. Why is that? Can anybody explain? I can. It's the same thing with gasoline. They fake scarcity. Same thing with diamonds. Most of the diamonds in the world are in a warehouse locked behind a door. They're not on the market. They're hidden. Why? Well, because if there's few of them, then they're more valuable. They force scarcity. They do peak oil, and we're running out of gas to raise the price on gasoline, even though the earth makes fuel. It makes oil. If you drain a pocket of oil, come back in 100 years, it'll be full of oil again. That's what the world does. It makes oil. Now, eggs. Anybody got any idea why they want to jack the price up on eggs? Seems weird. And milk, too. Thank you, Aaron. Dana says it was a pure mockery aimed at the people who want to believe and believe this crazy space travel. They have fun with this afterwards with a bottle of champagne, laughing their guts off, says Dana. Well, yeah, they want to believe in this space travel thing. Let me explain something to you people that are listening. You're not ever going to go to space. There, I said it. If by some chance you're able to afford a ticket on a craft that goes into space at some point, you're not ever going to go anywhere. You're not ever going to go to another planet. You probably will never go to the moon. You probably will get in low Earth orbit, and that's as far as you're going to go, which you can do in a high-powered aircraft to some degree. You get a little bit higher if you're in the space station, but not by much. Anyway, space travel is a hoax. You can't do it. It's not going to happen. We live in a closed system. It's not going to happen. Write it down that I said so. I was there when we first started talking about it, and they've been pushing the can down the road ever since because it's not feasible to do. Turns out people make lousy crash test dummies. Amanda says at least they aren't $9 a dozen now. Yeah, but they were. And they're $6 a dozen. $6.99 at the Food Lion. I could probably get them for $4.99 at the dollar store if they're stocked up, but they don't have any. I was able to get eggs, but it took a while. It was a job to go find them. And I can see how that scarcity would get worse over time should anything change in the market. It's not a good idea to put your stock in the other world, the market and the things that people are doing. I say go buy some chickens, get 2 of them or 3 of them. That's 2 or 3 eggs a day. Raise them up yourself. Get you a little chicken coop. You don't ever have to buy eggs again. Just buy chickens. If you get a rooster with those chickens, you can replenish those chickens when they get old. Aaron says, bet they won't egg houses. True. Yeah, they're not going to egg houses because the eggs are too expensive. Kevin says Special K is a special meal, Amanda. Are you talking about ketamine or cereal? Both called Special K. And Amanda says, oh, Kevin, is it? It is a special meal. If you're talking about Special K cereal. If you're talking about Special K ketamine, it's a really special meal because you get to talk to mechanical elves and, hang out with dolphins and maybe see God. Or at least you think you are. Probably won't be God, but you'll think you're seeing him. Bill Bennett says, no Special K, Kevin. Bad. I think he's talking about ketamine. Ketamine is a wonderful drug. It'll make you reset. It's like a big, giant reset button for your brain. But in the process, you'll see some pretty crazy stuff. However, there is evidence that shows that ketamine treatments is good for PTSD and other trauma-related mental blockages. It can help with a lot of those things. Depression, addiction. There's a lot of evidence that suggests that type of medication is good for those things if used in the proper doses. The problem is people do it to get high. And so they take way more of it than they need. When a microdose would be beneficial, they take a big, massive dose and get high and blast off into outer space for a little while. And that's one of the reasons people don't want to research it. But if they could get some grants going and we could start, and there is a place in America right now that just got approved to research on certain psychotropic medications, not all of them, but a few of them. And whatever they yield in terms of research is yet to be seen, but hopefully they'll do good work. But if more people could study this stuff, which grows naturally in the world, and I'm a big believer in natural medications, I think that God put things here for a reason. And if that medication is out there, we need to be researching it to see what it's good for, because it apparently does wonders for people who have addiction problems or PTSD or things like that. Trauma, mental trauma, blockages and things. So it might even be a treatment for autism down the road if they can, develop it. It's pretty interesting medication, but nobody wants to research it. It's illegal. So, like, what do they call it? Schedule 1 drug. So they're not even allowed to possess it, let alone research it. Except for that one lab, and I think that's in New Mexico or Arizona, somewhere over there. There's one lab that's been given permission to research the mushroom. What's it called? The little red mushroom with the white dots. I can't think of the word. Nope, it ain't coming to me, but you know what I'm talking about. The magic mushroom. Aaron says, you get the high 5 unicorns. Right on. That's in extremely high doses, though. In extremely low doses, psychotropic drugs are actually very beneficial for your brain because they affect a lot of the receptors that are in the brain. Your body makes that stuff naturally, but there's a chemical in your liver that activates it. 7-hydroxy something or other. I can't remember what it is. I'm not a chemist, but without that chemical, it's just food. Like, you can eat it all day and you wouldn't hallucinate, but you mix it with that chemical and then all of a sudden your brain reacts to it and you have hallucinations. So that's what ayahuasca is. Ayahuasca is a root, and they mix it with some chemical that they extract from a leaf from a different plant, and they get this potent compound that you drink and blast off in outer space. But what that leaf extract is the same thing your liver makes, which processes that particular enzyme in a certain way. That's the best I can explain it, but psychotropic drugs are extremely good for you if used properly, like with all things. Bill says, I never tried, have enough issues, right? I've never had a hallucinogenic either, not to my knowledge anyway. Muscalera, thank you, Aaron. Yeah, muscalera is the mushroom. Yes, Amanita muscalera. It's the one that has the white dots on it. It looks like the Christmas tree deal. It's red and has white dots, and apparently it's very, very potent. Dana says ketamine is an anesthetic. It is what Michael Jackson was hooked on. His doctor literally gave him shots of this to put him to sleep like patients during surgery. Yes. Ketamine is a psychotropic drug which has anesthetic properties. And what it does is it messes with the receptors of your brain, the dopamine receptors and the serotonin receptors and a couple of other things, and it causes you to hallucinate. And in certain doses, you can be put into like a trance-like state. If you go heavy, it'll definitely knock you out. And yes, he was using a mixture of ketamine and a couple of other things, and he called it milk. Amanda says, Mario grow mushroom. No. Kevin Cox says, good night. Well, you're not very talkative tonight, Kev. Are you just going to leave? I didn't leave when you got here. What's up? We love you, man. Thanks for being here. Bill Bennett says, good night, guys. Have a good evening, all. God bless you guys. You are all awesome. Well, thank you, Bill. God bless you, too. Have a good night. We'll see you next time. Aaron says, I would if it had that effect. Right on. I've always wanted to try it. I'm curious about it, but I've never done it, so I wouldn't know. I'd be scared I'd have one of those crazy trips that you don't ever come back from. With my brain, I'd probably get in a fight with a dragon or something. It's probably not a good idea for me. Amanda says, good night, Kevin, and good night, Bill. Aaron says, the one up. Right on. Yep, that's a green mushroom, but yeah, I got you. Mario Brothers. Oh, Mario grow mushroom. I get it. That's right. It's the embiggening mushroom. Yeah, I think all those things are placed here by God so that we can discover it and make medications out of it and make useful things out of it. But all things have a downside. And like hemp, for example, hemp is one of the most fascinating plants on planet Earth. I mean, it literally does everything. And it's super strong. Like, it's way stronger than cotton. Way, way, way stronger. More durable. Lasts longer. Easier to get to. And you can make oil out of it, too. You can run your car on hemp oil. There's all kinds of things you can do with hemp. But there's that nasty thing it does that gets you high. However, there have been a lot of studies that shows that THC is beneficial in some areas for certain things. And if used for that reason, it's very good. It's a natural medication like many, many other things. Morning glories, for example, a beautiful plant, morning glories, will make you trip balls if you eat it and probably kill you because it's poisonous. But it has psychotropic properties. I bet you didn't know that. Aaron says, I wonder if the mushroom has a grow effect, wank. Yeah, maybe in your mind. Linda Davis says, tonight, one of my daughters is spring fling dance. So I'm waiting up for her to get home. She's at a spring fling dance. Nice. What is a spring fling dance? Is that a school function or just a party with friends or what? Sounds like a school thing. Now, that's awesome. Get to see her in a dress. Do they still do that? Do the kids still dress up to go to dances? I don't even know. Amanda says, that's awesome, Linda. And OMG, Aaron. Linda says, I wish the mushrooms could make you grow. I could use a few inches. Me too. I'm vertically challenged. Yeah, you and I are not thinking about the same thing. I'd be a mushroom addict. Hang on, I'm seeing spots. It's better. I have new glasses, and they're the glass kind, so everything that touches them leaves a mark on them. It gives me a big headache. Linda Davis says, smiley, smiley, smiley. And Amanda says, me too, Linda, but dynamite comes in small packages. Kablam. Aaron says, LOL, Linda, how tall are you? And Linda says, yep, it's a school thing, and she looked absolutely beautiful in her gown. Oh, I bet she did. I never got to see my daughter wear a gown. She dressed like a boy anyway. Fab Daddy, what's up, buddy? He says, it's hump day. Yeah. Want to hump with me? No, not at all. Maybe adjacent to you, but not with you. How you doing, Fab? Good to see you. Amanda says hi. And Linda says, I'm 4'11.5. I'm 4'11.5321792. And a half. Wow, you are short. Tiny thing. 4'11. That's like here. Aaron says, tiny fireball, LOL. They usually are when they're tiny. Like a chihuahua. Amanda says, oh, I'm not that short, LOL. I mean, she's almost as tall as I am. Fab Daddy says, Humpty Hump with me. Stop being a bitch. I'm not being a bitch. Oh, it's biatch. Okay. I was about to get offended. All right. We're good. Humpty Hump. Do the Humpty Hump. Boy, that's not what it said. Do you want to hump with me is what it said. No. And I also said maybe adjacent to you, like in the same room, but not. No. And Lily says, yep, that half-inch counts. Well, when you're 4'11", you need every little half-inch you can get, right? I'm short, too, for a guy, so don't feel bad. I have a 7-foot-tall personality, though. I put off big D energy. But that's it, just energy. Aaron says, I'm 6'4". I hit my head on a lot of crap. 6'4", you're like a mythical giant. You might be a Nephilim. How's it feel being 6'4", being 1%? You know that most people are under 6 foot tall? You're like in the 1 percentile of males. Fab Daddy says, hi, Amanda and Linda. Colin 𝕂𝕗𝕚𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕊𝕥𝕣𝕖. He says, hey, guys, I'm starting my Bible. Cool. And I'm in Genesis 2:6, chapter 4. You go, boy. I am proud of you. Come to Bible study so you can understand it all. Linda Davis says, hey, Fab. And Colin says, chapter 3. Amanda says, hi, Colin. Fab Daddy says, I'll be a heathen. We're all heathens, Fab Daddy. Unless you're Jewish or of one of the other tribes. Amanda says, way to go, Colin. I'm proud of you, man. And Amanda says, damn, Aaron. Linda says, I'm shrinking. I used to be 5'1". Yeah, I've lost a little bit. I think I'm 5'6" now. I'm getting that hunchy thing, you know, that old people get. But my license still says 5'9". Amanda says, big D energy. Jake, release the Kraken. The Kraken is asleep. You calm your little self down. And Linda says, Walter is 6'3". I wish I was 6 foot tall. I feel like I probably should have been, but my scoliosis stunted my growth because I got a really big torso and little tiny legs. I look like SpongeBob SquarePants. It's ridiculous. I'm all torso, baby. Dana says, hi, Linda. It is beautiful and sweet to see petite women. Nothing wrong with it. I see 6 foot tall women, and there is nothing beautiful about that, in my opinion. Well, it depends. There are some women that are gorgeous, but they have to be built like a dancer, you know, like a Barbie doll to look good that tall. But I agree with you. I like more petite women. I like those women that have those dainty little fingers, you know, that look like they'll snap at the first sign of trauma. I like that. That's a turn on to me. Little tiny fingers. I love that. And little tiny feet. So, yeah, I think petite is the way to go when it comes to women. But there are some that we call them Amazon women in the male world because they're like, you know, Amazon giants. But some of them are nice. But they're also unattainable. Height seems to do that. Fab Daddy says, the air is warmer at 6'4". Probably. Heat does rise. Colin says, I prefer to read by myself. Well, you do that, buddy, and figure out how far you get. Aaron says, I think it's funny to walk past and be like, high five to this short girl at my work, and she just, and high five, hold on, I missed something. I think it's funny to walk past and be like, high five to this short girl at my work, she just, and high five. I got you. You like teasing the short ladies at your work. Got it. Colin says, I can go at my own pace. You go ahead. Do your thing, Colin. Amanda says, Aaron can see over the crowd. Yeah. And Dana says, I'm 5'5". That's a perfect height, Dana. Perfect height. Ain't nothing wrong with 5'5". You're tall enough to be assertive and still tiny enough to be swooned. Amanda says, me too, Dana. 5'5". Colin says, my brother is 24 and 6'4". And I'm 14 and 5 foot. Go, boy. Fab Daddy says, I don't like Trump and El Salvador president holding a man captive. That's silly, Fab Daddy. Come on now. Ain't nobody holding anybody captive. And what do you know about that guy, by the way? Do you know anything about that guy, or are you just falling in line with the riffraff? Because from my understanding, the guy's a gang member and is guilty of crimes. So he's in jail. He's not being held captive. Aaron says, I like tiny girls too, Jake. Me too. Dana says, 6 foot tall women with huge feet, size 11. Oof. Yep. If she's that tall, she can reach the stuff on the shelf. She don't need me. Aaron says, jumps. Right on. Fab Daddy says, I try not to be political these days. Well, you started with a political statement, so you're failing. How about the women that went into space? You find that historical and beautiful? Linda says, I used to climb on the countertops to reach the top cabinet. I can't do that anymore. Right on. I can do it, but getting down's a little bit trickier than it used to be. For some reason, I reached an age, and that age was 49, where all of a sudden, my midsection and my knees didn't want to function anymore. Like out of nowhere, I just bent over one day. I was like, oh, I can't do that. What's going on here? I've been a roofer and a steel worker my whole life. And, you know, all forms of construction. I literally bend for a living. I've never had any trouble getting down on my knees or bending or anything like that. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just can't bend anymore. So now when I go to the ground, I got to creep down there and make a noise and get down there. And then I got to work and get back up. So that's a 50-year-old thing, I guess. So I hear you. Amanda says, LOL, Linda, or have to dangle to reach the bottom of the washing machine. And Fab Daddy says, the fuck they aren't. What are you talking about? They aren't what? Who are they? And Amanda says, he's a documented MS-13. Yeah, a judge decreed that he was in fact a gang member and wanted by said gang, which is why he broke the law and came into America in the first place. Anyway, think about what you're talking about. And what are you cussing about? And watch your mouth. There's ladies present. Linda Davis says, I may be short, but all my kids are more frightened of me than Walter. Yeah, well, short don't mean nothing when you're talking about mama. My mama was this tall and could knock me out cold. Believe that. And if she couldn't, she'd grab something and throw it at me in a quickness. So, yeah, I understand all about fear of the mama. Fab Daddy says, what do you know? That's hearsay. That's not hearsay, in fact. If you're talking about the MS-13 gang member, that's not hearsay. That is a matter of fact. It is a matter of public record, and you can go look it up, which I have done. So it's not hearsay. And I know a lot of things, Fab Daddy. If you came in here to fight, it's probably the wrong move. I would urge you to reconsider. If you came in here to discuss, I'm more than happy to do so. But assaulting my credibility right off the bat, knowing me, that's not a good move, buddy. Dana says, Linda Davis, smiley face. And Linda says, I can wear youth-size shoes. Right on. I have small feet for a man, but they're not small feet. I have a size 10, so that's, I guess, pretty average for a man. But you know what they say about a guy's foot size, don't you? It ain't got nothing to do with the other thing. Amanda says, I just watched a press conference about it today. He's documented MS-13 by a judge. Right, not hearsay. Aaron says, I was saying the girls jump and high fives. I got you. Girl jumps and high fives you because she's so short and you're so tall. I got it. I just didn't catch the sentence structure there, but I understood what you were saying. Give that man due process. Fab Daddy, he's in jail. He got due process. A judge put him in jail. That is due process. Do you know what due process means? It means that you have evidence of a crime when you're arrested, and then you go before a jury of your peers or a judge or for whatever the crime calls for, and you have a trial, and then you get sentenced, which is where he is currently at. What do you say? Stop repeating headlines that you heard on the news. They're trying to gaslight you. They're trying to rile you up. Think before you speak. And Amanda says he can keep his ass there. And Aaron says, release the Kraken, Jake. Fab Daddy's trying to get me to, I think. I love you, brother. But, you know, you're talking very insulting. And that's not very nice. I've been nothing but good to you. Try returning the favor. And Fab Daddy says, Amanda, shame. Shame for what? What should she be ashamed of? That's not very Christian, really? Have you read the Bible? How many times do you think the word judgment appears in the Bible? Just curious. Linda Davis says, yeah, I have to jump up and lean into the washer too. Get the socks off the bottom. Apparently, you can put your socks in a bag and hang them in the washing machine. Do you know that? I didn't know that. You telling me for 40 years I could have been doing what with a bag? Come on now. Sorry, dude. It was funny. Amanda says, so if he's not, then why did he ask for special protection from the other gangs? Because he's MS-13 member. Yeah, that's called a detail from the case, which I doubt the other side of this argument has. Just going off of pure instinct and emotion rather than facts and logic and, you know, the truth. But other than that, let him vent. I'm sure he's had a bad day, so he needs somebody to make the enemy, and it's us, apparently. Despite the fact we've been his friend for a very long time now. Amanda says, he's a bad guy. They can keep him. Right on. Fab Daddy says, my rights to speak will be held against me, just like dealing with tyrants. What? Fab Daddy, are you high? Dana says, LOL, Linda Davis. Smiley, smiley, smiley. And Amanda says, right, Linda? And Fab Daddy says, I know you guys, and I challenge you because when needed. What? You can challenge all you want to, Fab Daddy. I barely care. Because we need it? You need what? You need to challenge me? Or you need your right to speak, which isn't being taken from you? What are you talking about? Try slowing down, take a breath, stop hyperventilating, and, you know, say something poignant. Linda says, when my daughter got in trouble at school, they said they would call her dad. And she said, okay, he's not home until Saturday, and we'll forget about it by then. Yeah, mamas don't do that, though. Mamas are sitting there with a belt when you walk in the door, and they can wrap it around your neck before you can run the other way. I know. Amanda says, LOL, Linda. Dana says, Linda, smiley face. Aaron says, LOL, sounds like my daughter. Yep, daddies are usually wrapped around the daughter's finger. I know I was. And she could get away with anything around me. My mama, though, my mama tear your ass up. And Fab Daddy said, he should not be there. Do you have any particular reason why he should not be there, or are you just spouting off nonsense? What are you saying? You think that a person who broke the law to come into this country should not be deported to the country he came from, which is where he is currently? And the fact that he's in jail is because he broke the law. So he should be there. If you break the law, you should be in jail. If I break the law, I should be in jail. That's how law works. Aaron says, notice how anybody else in this room is not trying to broach the subject that you're talking about there, Fab Daddy? It's because you're not making any sense, and nobody wants to call you out on it. I'll call you out on it. You're not making any sense. Think about what you're saying. Put something forward that's not an emotional yap at the mouth. Say something that's valid, not something MSNBC said. Amanda says CNN, MSNBC are making a big deal about it, but ain't said shit about the 37-year-old mother of 5 who was brutally murdered. Did you forget about that one? Amanda says he is a criminal. He absolutely should be there. Aaron says, do your feet sing when you sit down, Linda? Like, whistle while you work? What are you talking about? Sting, you mean, or swing? Like, she can't touch the floor, right? We're talking about being short, so I'm guessing you're saying, do they swing when you sit down? Amanda says, mine do in the recliner. Fab Daddy says, I can't type, LOL. Sure you can. I'll wait. Take your time. I don't mind having this argument with you. I just ask that you argue points and not emotional nonsense. I don't care how you feel about the guy. I'm not making an emotional plea to the guy. I don't know the guy. I don't care about the guy. I will not lose one iota of sleep if he never gets out of jail. I don't care. But it is a thing that is happening, and I will gladly discuss it with you. But discuss the facts. If you don't have the facts, I'll give them to you because you're clearly struggling with that. But if you want to discuss what's happening, tell me why you think he shouldn't be there. Tell me why you think he should be free to walk into this country without papers and murder people while he's here and not pay any price for that. Aaron says, LOL, I knew it. You knew what? And Amanda says, he's drunk. I don't know. Aaron says, yup. And Fab Daddy says, Jake, I get high as soon as I can. As soon as I wake up. I hear you, buddy. I hear you, man. I figured something was going on. Linda Davis says, yes, Aaron, only my toes reach the ground, especially if I sit back in the chair. Wow. Fab Daddy says, I'm not drunk. I'm high. Aaron says, so cool, Linda. And Fab Daddy says, that was 3 hours ago. I hear you, buddy. Aaron says, Linda, it's the cutest ever. You're dangling your little feet. Yep. Fab Daddy says, drunk skunk punk. I don't. Amanda says, he's listening to CNN and MSNBC or MSDNC. Fab Daddy says, laws are not beneficial. To who? Laws are very beneficial. I admit they go overboard with the laws and they should stick to the Moses-given laws because those are the ones that are beneficial. And sometimes they get a little crazy with the laws, but I digress in that the law to be a country is very beneficial to its citizens, and you shouldn't break them. Any other country in the world, if you cross the border illegally, you'll either get shot or deported immediately. There's no reason we shouldn't be that way too. Rich S, what's up, buddy? He says, I just got here. What the hell are we talking about? Whatever you want to talk about. Chicks in space or illegal immigrants in jail in El Salvador or short women. What do you want to talk about? Or chickens. Amanda says, hi, Rich. And Fab Daddy says, are rights inalienable? Some of them are, yes. Inalienable. Endowed to you by your creator. Some of them. Not all of them. You have the right to bear arms or the right to arm bears, whatever the hell you want to do. That means they're not issued to you by a man, so they cannot be taken away from you by a man. That's what inalienable means. Rich S says, of course they are. Right on. And Dana says, Linda Davis, they sell in every pharmacy sticks to pick up things off the floor for people who can't bend down. It has a clamp on the bottom and a trigger on the handle to open and close the clamp. Yep, we call that in this country a picker-upper for obvious reasons. Fab Daddy says, Jake, someday you will add a link where we can converse in real time. Yep, I'd be glad to do that. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about opening up one day a week to panels because we're getting more and more people in here and more and more people in here that have some form of intellect, and it would be lovely to have a one-on-one or a two-on-one conversation and debate in real time. So I'm looking into that, and maybe with the new way that Rumble has their Rumble studio, and I'm thinking that is going to allow me to have guests. So I'm thinking about doing one day a week as a panel show. We'll work on it. But you're welcome to come join me anytime you want when we get that going. And it'll be worse because then I'll be able to point directly to what you're saying and see your face, so I'll know what context you're talking in. So that'll help a lot. Hard to hear a joke over text. You know what I'm saying? And Dana says, to grab things off the floor, and I was thinking you can use it to pick up the socks off the dryer. Nice. Way to solve a problem, Dana. Fab Daddy says, I understand you don't. I don't what? Have guests? Or it's just because that's not what kind of show this is. But I'm not opposed to it. We could set that up. I have tried it before, and it was disastrous because people are people. And if I do it again, I'm going to have some rules up front. Number one, we got to meet before we go live so that we can discuss what we're going to discuss and get the idea straight so it doesn't go off the rails. And number two, you must have headphones and a microphone. And number three, your camera must be stationary. So we do that. We'll work on it. Amanda says, don't break the law and do stupid shit, and you won't have no problems with them. True. And Linda says, I have one of those sticks, Dana. LOL, I actually have a few of them. Picker-uppers. We call them picker-uppers. They picker-upper things. Pick up things with your picker-upper. Amanda says, play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And Dana says, Linda Davis, smiley face and thumbs up. Fab Daddy says, it's very interesting to carry a conversation with a man reading my words. Yep, and I don't always get them right, I know that. But I've come to accept this form of communication as a malleable, easy to misinterpret thing that as long as everybody that's listening understands that, then we're good. I'll get ones I get and miss the ones I miss. Rich S says, CCOT, where criminals like that belong. I don't know what CCOT is, but it sounds like a place where you put Bond villains. And Rich S says, including Abrego Garcia. I don't know who that is. Aaron says, if a bear wears a sleeveless shirt, is he bare in arms? Yes. He's an armed bear, for sure. Linda says, LOL, Aaron. Fab Daddy says, Aaron, I have seen your chats. I like you. Shh, don't tell Jake. Aaron's a good dude, Fab Daddy. He's smart. He's attentive. He pays attention. And he's quick on his feet, and I like that. He's got good qualities. And he's young, relatively speaking, which is rare. Most young people are... He's got a head on his shoulders. And Dana says, LOL, I might join the panel. I'd love to have you, Dana. Absolutely. I'm thinking very seriously about doing a panel show, maybe on Saturday night or something like that. We'll figure it out. I need to do some testing. I'll probably test it this week. So if you see me pop up in an unscheduled time, I'm testing things. So it'd probably be very boring. You might want to come hang out. You might not, but just expect me to be running through tests and not talking a lot. Like if I pop up on a Tuesday or a Thursday or in the middle of the day or late at night, something like that. And then Fab Daddy says, yeah, my phone ain't stationary and the mic sucks. No real-time chat for me. No, you could put your phone on a pedestal. They sell a little pillow that you can put it on. It's a little triangular pillow with divots in it. And you can put it on there, or you can just prop it up on a glass so it can be stationary. And it doesn't matter if your microphone sucks. If you have a microphone, if you have a phone, if you're using a phone, then it has a microphone built in, or you can get one of those earbuds that have the little microphone clip on it. One of those will work. But the microphone on a phone is pretty good, so that's fine. But otherwise, if you're using like a webcam, you need a microphone, and you definitely need headphones, because people that use phones on chats like that, it echoes, and there's no real way to stop that. You have to turn your volume all the way down when you're on a stream like that. That's the only way to get it clear and smooth. And the one thing I hate is noise. So I can't have a conversation if there's a bunch of racket. But we'll figure it out. And Aaron says, thank you, Mr. Jake. I only say it like I mean it, buddy. Amanda says, I would probably join too. Bab Daddy says, Dana wants to join. Right on. Aaron says, likewise, Fab Daddy, likewise. I like you too. Rich S says, CCOT is the Supermax prison in El Salvador. Okay. The 200 plus terrorists that Donald J. Trump deported there, including Garcia, the MS-13 gang member they say was sent by mistake. Got it. That's the guy we were talking about earlier. I just didn't recognize his name. Aaron says, if you do a one-on-one with a moderator and the person, it could be good and the rest of us could watch, I think you should be able to mute their microphone. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I'm thinking about doing it. We don't need a moderator, though. I mean, that's what I do, basically. I would lead the conversation. The problem is some people that want to join have no concept of how a conversation is supposed to go, right? They're not media trained. And the last time I did it, it was a disaster. Because, first of all, there were people talking in the background. The guy was using a phone, but he was yelling at the phone like he thought I couldn't hear him, so he was yelling very loudly. And then next thing you know, somebody starts singing karaoke while I'm having a conversation. And then there's a dog barking and couldn't get a word in edgewise. And it wasn't good. And so I know people would not want to watch something like that. I'm trying to put on a quasi-professional show here. So if you're going to come on the show, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know that you're coming on to have a conversation. And even if it gets heated, you got to kind of follow conversational rules, such as you talk and then you stop talking and then let somebody respond, right? It's a give and take. You can't talk over each other. That's not how conversations work. If you don't believe me, watch Piers Morgan, and when you're ready to pull your hair out because there's 6 people all talking at the same time and you don't really know what any of them are saying, that's what I'm talking about. I would much rather, even if I disagree with you, I would much rather you clearly define your point and then I clearly argue the point so that people listening can make up their own mind as to who's right. I think that's fair. Fab Daddy says, sure, Jake, I would love to be a guest. Thanks. Love you too. I have you on. Absolutely. And Dana says, Fab Daddy said I might. I said I might. She said she might. Fab Daddy says, Dana will. You just roll with it. Fab Daddy says, add 1 guest per show. Yeah, well, I don't mind doing 2 or 3 guests as long as it's a decent conversation and we can all have our time to talk, you know. I'll figure it out. I've never done it full time before. I mean, I've been on chat shows before, but I've never hosted one, but I'm pretty sure I could moderate it in a proper way that everybody gets their say. And nobody feels like they've been cut off or didn't get to say what they meant or whatever. And if we're going to do that, we obviously got to talk about controversial things, not just chit-chat. It's got to have a point, you know. And I like to teach people things, so I would probably pick topics or host topics that had some moral value or some point that helps the world out. Rich S says, there's definitely a protocol and etiquette to debate. Yes, watch Piers Morgan sometimes. See, I told you, it ain't easy. Right on. I hate that show because you don't have any idea what they're saying. It's just a free-for-all. And he does not try at all to wrangle in his guests. No. You talk and then shut up. Let somebody else talk. And then they shut up and let somebody else talk. That's how it goes. Dana says, Fab Daddy, I am rolling already with laughter. Fab Daddy says, I bet you have, hold on, my chat jumped. I bet you have plenty of questions for us. Sure, but I'd be more interested in the questions you have for me. I mean, I'm a walking thesaurus. Least you could do is use me, you know. Aaron says, you could call it Pass the Mic. That's a good idea. Timed mic debates with 2 people debating points intellectually. I'm down. I like that. Pass the mic. It's a good name, actually. And Fab Daddy says, I would love to hear Dana's or Amanda's voice. Rich S says, topic suggestion, is patriarchy better for society? That's a good question. I think it has an obvious answer, but I'm pretty sure that somebody could have an hour-long conversation about that. Amanda says, my voice is in the background all the time. Fab Daddy. And Aaron says, Amanda talks, Fab. Aaron says, LOL. And Amanda says, right, Aaron, thanks. Rich says, I sound like Chad Kroger, Nickelback. You saying you talk like this? Fat Daddy says, I could butt heads with Jake. Sure you could. I butt heads back, though. As long as you can take it, I can take it. That's the thing I'm concerned about, though. I don't know if people can get heated and still be friends afterwards. In this climate, the way the world is today, I don't think people can just get in an argument anymore. I think they have to draw lines and pick sides. And I'm like, dude, I don't even talk about a subject unless I can argue both sides. The reason for that is I can't make an effective argument if I don't understand the argument being presented at me. So I believe, like the traditional debate theory, I believe you should be able to argue both sides of a point effectively. And most people don't even do that. They just have their opinion and that's it. And most of the time, that opinion ain't based on much. Amanda says, Jake has a hard head. You ain't lying. Dana says, I hate my voice. When I heard my voice for the first time on a recorder, I couldn't believe that was me. That's actually a normal phenomenon, Dana. Most people do not like the sound of their own voice. And the reason for that is because you're not hearing the sound of your own voice. When you speak, the voice goes out in front of you and your ears pick it up, but you've got this inner cavity where your vocal cords are, and it vibrates. So inside of your head, you hear a tone of your voice that other people do not hear. So you're used to hearing your voice coming from within you, and when you hear it back, you're not hearing that. You're only hearing what other people hear, and it sounds like it's missing something. Sounds like it's off, because it is. Because in your head, your voice has a different tone because you're hearing all the stuff inside of your body too. That's why you don't like the sound of your voice. Most people don't. Amanda says, no, Rich says, yeah, but none of us are actual friends except you and Amanda. That's not true, Rich. I'm actual friends with everybody in this chat, in my opinion. We may not have a storied, long relationship, but I consider all of you friends. We don't hang out, but that's not my fault. You know where I live, right here. I consider you a friend, Rich. If you want to reach out, here's my email address. Right here. And Amanda says, LOL, Dana, right? I sound so country. Fab Daddy says, Jake, you will always be family. Just suck it up, cyber family. Has brought me to tears. Aw. Well, I love you, Fab Daddy, even if I argue with you. Dana says, I hate my voice, LOL. It was like listening to a weird stranger. Because you don't hear your inner sound with your voice. You only hear the exterior voice, which other people hear. There's an extra element when you hear yourself. If you close your ears and talk, you hear that kind of a muffled inner tone. That's added to your voice in your head. So when you hear your voice, when you speak, and then when you hear it coming back to you from a recorder, it's missing that part. So it sounds different because it is different. Fab Daddy says, I sound too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts. Oh, yeah. Aaron says, they lack the academic logic and logistics. People these days don't have debating vocal gymnastics. True. Most of them lack a basic education, too. But some of them are really smart, and some of those people I'd really like to have a good, in-depth conversation with. I'm what you call an out-of-the-box thinker. I think on the margins of things. Like most people think down the center of a situation. I'm over here in the corner looking at the angles and, trying to understand it from a different perspective and things like that. So when I have a conversation, it tends to go off the rails because I'm very analytical. Not in a bad way, just in a different way than most people talk. Linda says, me too, Dana, but I sound like a New Yorker, especially when I get excited. Yeah, when you get excited, it's hard to keep that original accent pushed down. I get very Georgia when I get tired or when I get excited. I can hear it coming out of me. I've tried very hard to be articulate and speak well and enunciate and get rid of the accent. And most of the time I have a very Mediterranean accent. But when I get excited or when I get close to home or anything like that, that Georgia slang kind of slips out between my teeth. Rich says, so I love you all, but we're not pals is what I'm saying. Well, that's your fault, Rich. I would like to be a closer friend to you than just a internet stranger. I am a permanent fixture. I'm not going anywhere. So if you would like to be a closer friend, talk. I'll listen. We should be pals. Linda and I are personal friends. Dana and I are personal friends. Fab Daddy and I are personal friends. We don't have a very long history, except in this show, but if they ask me for something, I would give immediately whatever they need. And Amanda, she's screwing the boss, so, you know, she has special perks. Amanda says, I talked to a few people off this channel. Well, we've all come closer over the years, and I hope that we continue to do so. And I hope all of us, everybody that's here, eventually considers themselves part of this community. And I hope that it is a real substantial thing to all of you, because I've worked very hard to provide it. And here it is. It's yours. So if you choose to not invest in that type of a friendship, that's your business. But it's available if you want it. Fab Daddy says, Rich, I see you. And Dana says, Linda Davis, smiley face, thumbs up. Fab Daddy says, Jake is boxed. Boxed or based? What are you saying? Aaron says, are you from New York, Linda? Linda says, Rich S., do you want to be my friend? Just because we don't live in the same area, we can still become friends, right? Yeah, you don't have to live in the same area to be a friend. And Rich, do you want to be my buddy? Will you go out with me? Fab Daddy says, Linda. Rich S. says, Linda Davis, that would be splendid. Kissy face. Well, you are welcome here, Rich, and we do love you. And I'm not just saying that. We are pals, in my opinion. Dana says, I have naturally sort of a deeper voice. People say it is an alto in music. Yet when I heard myself on the recorder, it sounded to me even deeper. Brr. Well, you might be a alto, or you might be a bass. Can you sing, nobody knows the trouble I see? Nobody knows but Jesus. I'm an alto also. I have a very brown voice, if you know what that means. It's a very unusual, very mid-rangey voice. When you mix me in a mixer, you have to mix my voice different than the standard way of mixing a voice, because it'll feed back if it's mixed like everybody else's microphone. It has to be a certain way for me, because I have a very mid-rangey brown voice. It's not very pleasant at all. I work very hard at sounding pleasant. Rich S says, let's all work on being pals. Well, I thought that's what we were doing, Rich. You're welcome to be. Aaron says, message retracted just to mess with Jake. I can't read it if you retract it. And Fab Daddy says, Rich is now Untethered Live family. Suck it up, bruh. Yes, you are family, Rich. If you've been here more than once, you know where the cups are. That's all I'm saying. Aaron says, Rich, you are my friend. Not taking no for an answer. Right on. Linda says, yes, Aaron. I was born and raised just on the other side of Tappan Zee Bridge. Rich S says, Aaron, hey, we can work on it. Somebody's playing hard to get. That's what I think. Rich, are you being hard to get, buddy? Aaron says, cool. So you say coffee? I say coffee. I do. Coffee. That's right. That old Southern language. Can't help it. Fab Daddy says, Rich, I will not say hi every time, but I will read your comments. Be prepared to be judged. And Aaron says, only God can judge me. Right on. And Rich says, am I the only one here without a wrench? No, sir. Aaron don't have a wrench. Do you want a wrench? I usually give wrenches to people I trust, that I know won't come in and start screwing with my chat, that I know will observe my wishes for strangers. And all people that have wrenches are expected to be here because they are helping me moderate the chat and keep it clean and safe for people that want to be here. A wrench means that you moderate the channel. And so when you have that, you kind of have a responsibility to be here and have everybody's back and make sure that the trolls don't get through. But you still have to be able to allow them to express their opinions, because I'm not trying to stifle them from saying anything. I don't care what they say. The rules are you can't be disrespectful to the ladies at all. I do not tolerate that. They are here. They're lovely. They have no reason to be talked to that way. So don't let that happen. And if they're being dirty or saying a bunch of repetitive stuff or saying things that have nothing to do with what we're talking about and just trying to get their own attention, then you warn them. And if they don't stop, then you time them out. And if they still don't stop, then you can ban them. But the whole idea here is we're trying to grow the channel, not keep it too small. So we don't want to kick people out unless we have to. But if you want a wrench, let me know. And Fab Daddy says, I'm going to retract the message too, Aaron, just to mess with Jake. Amanda says, Spaceballs. Nobody knows but Jesus. Fab Daddy says, I never asked Jake for this gift of blue. Nope. I usually give it when I feel like I trust you. I don't have to be asked. But if you want one, you have to ask. If I didn't give you one. And Linda says, Dana, that is sexy. You don't sound like a squeaky girl. Right on. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a deeper voice in a woman, as long as it isn't raspy and deep like a man. That's bad. If you were like, hi, I'm Dana, that would be bad. But just a deeper tone and a feminine voice, there's nothing wrong with that. That's sexy as all get out. Aaron says, if the statement is bad grammar, I have to retract it. I hear you. Fab Daddy says, and I truly think if I wasn't a moderator, I would have been banned. You think that? You think I would have banned you? You have never said anything that broke any of my rules. I've never heard you say anything too disrespectful to the ladies, and you've never came in here with a bunch of nonsense. And even when you did say something that I considered nonsensical and I called you out on it, you either changed the subject or explained yourself. I would not have banned you for that. I'm actually not big on banning people. Dana says, nope, not that deep, Jake. Not like Whoopi Goldberg. Ooh. She's got a voice fit for a dude, for sure. Rich says, really? I am going to get filthy and see if I get booted. Rich, why would you do that? If you get filthy, you know I will. So why would you even test me like that? Fab Daddy says, I told the worst joke ever. I apologize. I appreciate that. And Amanda says, I will boot anyone. Quick. I am the banhammer. Danny says, Linda Davis, you crack me up. Today, squeaky girl. Fab Daddy says, Rich, you can have your own opinion. That's independent thinking. Right on. Rich says, how did Burger King get Dairy Queen pregnant? I don't know how. And Aaron says, what does HBJ mean, Amanda? It means HBJ. Linda says, Amanda is quick. She catches things before I even see them. She is quick. And Amanda says, HB is my middle name and J is Johnson. Right on. And Fab Daddy says, my favorite woman is a quiet one. Pardon me. I like a woman who is submissive because she wants to be. But I also like a woman that has a backbone. I don't like a woman that is push-aroundable. You know, I like a woman that is comfortable in her own skin, knows what she knows, and has the strength that she has, but chooses to be submissive. That's what I like. I'm stoic, and that pairs well with submissive. But make no mistake about it, I don't want to dominate a woman. I want her to willingly be submissive. There's a difference. Amanda says, I have an advantage, Linda. I have 5 devices going. Right on. That's why she's so fast. She's got more tech than I do, and I'm running the show. She's got 5 screens in front of her. I've only got 2. Fab Daddy says, sorry. That's masculine thinking. What? I'm a masculine man, Fab Daddy. I don't ask for forgiveness for that. I don't apologize for being male. I am a man. A real one. Like I got dirty fingers and everything because I work my tail off. And I am a respectable figure. So therefore, I require respect. I don't think that's unreasonable. It may be masculine, but that's the way the world works, baby. Fab Daddy says, sorry, that's masculine thinking. I read that one. Linda says, Fab, when a woman gets quiet, you better run. Right. And Aaron says, oh, yeah. Oh, I got it, Amanda. HB stands for Hetty Bell, by the way. I know she didn't want me to say that, but there, I said it. And Amanda says, or cries when she's mad, Linda. What? What? I said, oh, no, you didn't. Oh, yes, I did. I done told on you. Yeah. If a girl starts crying, she's angry or upset. Either way, you don't want to be there. Fab Daddy says, when a woman gets quiet, still waiting for it. Dana says, my grandfather just told me Univox Comme un velours. I have a voice like velvet, LOL. I love my grandfather. Will you tell your grandfather he made good children because it's produced you, and that's lovely. Congratulations. And tell him we said hello and we love him and hope he gets better. Velours. I didn't realize velour and velvet were the same thing. Interesting. Linda says, that is beautiful, Dana. What a lovely thing to say to you. Bless his heart. Aw. Fab Daddy says, I apologize because I can. I don't apologize. Ever. Unless I'm wrong. I don't apologize for being me. I'll apologize if I'm in error, if I did something wrong. I don't apologize for anything else for the sake of apologizing. I don't do that. I am comfortable with who I am. I know who I am. I'm not searching for myself. I solved that mystery many years ago. I know what I am. Both good and bad. So why would I apologize for being here? I'm trying my best. I'm earnest. I come to you forthright, and I put nothing under my vest. I carry everything on my sleeve. What would I apologize for? And Amanda says, I like my men masculine. I'm just saying. Most women do. Aaron says, Jake. Right on, brother. And Amanda says, oh, you're sleeping outside tonight. I see how this is. I own the bed. Let's see how that works. Dana says, Linda Davis, I am translating to him what we are talking about, and thank you for your lovely words. Aw. Heart. Fab Daddy says, is apologizing cowardice? I don't know. What are you apologizing for? It can be. If you are whipped and are apologizing for being yourself, yeah, it's cowardice. If you're in the wrong, if you've done something wrong and recognize that you're in the wrong and apologize for your behavior, no, that's strong. I guess it just depends on how you do it. If you're a sniveling little beta male, yeah, it's cowardice. If you have a man bun and you apologize for anything, you're probably being coward. Rich S says, a woman is like a tea bag. You can't tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water. I'm with you. I can see how that works. Fab Daddy says, velvet is soft. So is Dana. Fab Daddy says, I am 55 and still trying to understand myself. I change with the days. Well, Fab Daddy, you're running out of time, buddy. You probably should get on that. Take a week and do some serious soul searching and figure yourself out. And when you know who you are, then you can proceed confidently in this world without questioning yourself. There's too many other things to question. Linda says, well, Rich, I must be as strong as Arnold Schwarzenegger, because she's in hot water and she gets bad. Aaron says, LOL, on the bed. Ha ha ha. You can't cut me off. You don't even know where I'm getting it from. Walter Davis, good evening, all. What's up, Walter? How you doing, buddy? Fab Daddy says hello. And Fab Daddy says, OMG, man bun. Right? I do have a ponytail, but I don't have a man bun. I'm business in the front and party in the back. I had a mullet back before I discovered hair ties. And now I'm 80% bangs. Amanda says, LOL, Aaron. And he'd lay down and be lonely with nothing to cuddle to. He'd come get me. I wouldn't let you get out of the bed in the first place. That's beside the point. I don't do that. I don't use physicality as a weapon. That's a coward move, and I don't do it. I think if you want to end a relationship, that's a good way to start. I don't care how mad I am at you. I'll still show you love because we're in a relationship. Anger has nothing to do with that. Amanda says, hi, Walter. Linda says, Walter says a man bun is a handle for punching. Yes. I agree wholeheartedly. Rich S says, I wish I had enough hair for a man bun. Well, when you go the other way, I could see why you would. Yeah. Amanda says, a man bun's gay. Gay. Aaron says, well, he loves you, Amanda. Of course I do. My love is earnest. It's real. I don't play games. Walter Davis says, hi, Jake, Amanda, Linda, Ron, Fab Daddy, Rich, Dana. And Fab Daddy says, my understanding of myself needs to vary. Allow it. Don't fight it. Learn and move on. I guess if you hadn't figured yourself out, that's what you should do. I've already figured myself out, so I don't need to do that. I'm not subject to change. I am who I am in every way. Aaron says, hey, Walter. And Amanda says, yep. And there wouldn't be anyone there to steal the covers. Rich S says, Walter Davis, can you spell my name with a capital letter next time, please? That's a little nitpicky there, buddy. I hear you, though. He probably spelled mine with a lowercase, too. Nope, I got a capital letter, see? Dana says, I don't understand what man bun means, folks. Still catching up. That's when they take their hair and put it up on top like a lady. A little ball up there with their hair. I know you've seen it. A beard and a little bun up top. That's what a man bun is. You know how you put your hair in a bun like a lady would? Roll it up and put a pin in it? Men do that too. If they're baristas or, piano players. Aaron says, it's half a ponytail. It's half the pony for half the man, right? Fab Daddy says, man bun is a stupid hairstyle. Yes, it is. Very stupid. And you wouldn't catch me dead doing it unless I was trying to make fun of somebody else. I might do it as a joke, but I would never seriously wear a man bun. I don't like the ponytail, but it does keep it out of my face. I would just wear it down all the time, but people couldn't handle that much glam. I'd be popping everywhere. Pop, pop. They just couldn't take it. That was so gay. I don't ever want to do that again. Amanda says, it's like when we put our hair up in a bun, Dana. When a man with long hair does it, it's a man bun. Fab Daddy says, judging a pesto by their clothes is petty. I don't know what you mean by pesto, and I don't judge anybody by their clothes. I judge them by their character. If their clothes fit, though, makes sense. What do you mean by pesto? Walter Davis says, rich. There you go. Judging a person by their clothes is petty. Oh, I don't. I judge them by their character. Dana says, oh, Amanda, thank you. LOL. I am learning every day something new. That's a good thing. When you stop learning something new every day, you got a problem. And Linda says, true, Fab. Fab Daddy says, judging a person by their looks is superficial. ℂ𝕙𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕗. Amanda says, you're welcome, Dana. Always good to learn something new. Amen. Fab Daddy says, we all judge each other. Well, there's a such thing as discernment. You shouldn't judge anybody. Judge not lest you be judged yourself, says the Bible. Jesus said that, and I would agree. I try not to judge people at all, but I do have discernment, and I can judge a person by the content of their character, and I can discern whether or not they will be beneficial to know or if they will be absurd. Aaron says, I'm going to retract the message again. And Dana says, Fab Daddy, now I understand what you mean by man bun is a stupid hairstyle. Walter says, it's like the samurai kind of thing for wannabe tough guys. Yeah, I've never seen anybody wearing a man bun that I considered to look tough. I always thought, that guy probably gets my coffee order wrong. Guarantee it. Rich S says, judging a person by what is written on their clothes is perfectly acceptable. Example, people who wear AC/DC t-shirts should be judged. Judge your head on, buddy. Judge your head on. The only thing that judgment means is that I have great taste in music. How about that? Fab Daddy says, I love AC/DC. Right on. Fab Daddy says, music. You know what AC/DC means? Alternating current, direct current. Linda Davis says, Amanda, I sent you a picture of my girl. She is home now, and she had a great time. Awesome. Well, tell her we said hello and congratulations on the dance. And Fab Daddy says, I think we judge to protect ourselves. Some people do. Some people are insecure and need to do that. I don't. I'm very secure in who I am. I don't need affirmation. I don't need approval. I don't need superficial epithets. What I need is honesty and integrity and loyalty and respect. And I give those things also. But as far as being a human being, I'm very secure in who I am. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. And I'm not trying to gain any ground with anybody. I'm just me. If you find that to be valuable, you're in the right place. If you don't, you've missed out. If you didn't take the time to get to know who I was, that's your own fault. It's here. All you have to do is look. If you can't see it, you're not looking real hard. Walter says, right, Jake. Thank you, sir. Linda Davis says, hey, Rich S., AC/DC is a good band. Yes, they are. Amanda says, nice, Linda. That's a pretty dress. Cute daughter, too. Rich S. says, MHM. Okay, Linda. MHM? I don't know what that means. Manhattan has multiplexes? Men hate manicures? Monster humbling monster? Morphine, hashish, microfilament. What do we say? My little redhead, says Linda. Oh, I can't wait to see that picture. Rich S says, I'm just teasing, Jake. Jakey, LOL. Listen to you being disrespectful. I hear you, Rich. I can take a joke. Amanda says, right, Linda. Fab Daddy says, judging is no right from wrong. You can, that's called discernment, and you're right. You can judge right from wrong. You can judge good from bad. You can judge moldy from clean. You can judge liar from truth teller. You just have to look somebody in the eyes and see what they say. Walter says, AC/DC also means to play both teams. I'm just saying. It has been used as that, as a expression to mean that. But that's more like in the 70s. They haven't used that way in a long time. They jumped onto other things like the rainbow symbol. They like to hijack other people's things to use for their own because they can't create anything in and of themselves. The devil can't create. All he can do is mock and copy. So there's that. But yeah, AC/DC has always meant alternating current, direct current. But I understand that there's another meaning from the 70s that means, you know what I'm saying. And Amanda says the big D status. Right on, Jake, the big D status. Cracking. According to my keys, I have legendary status. My keys have never been wrong. Aaron says, I'm minding my business. That's usually the best way to go about it. MHM says it, Oh, okay. I see. It's like, I can't do that neck thing. However y'all girls do that. I see what you're saying. That's a new one on me. I didn't know that one. I just learned WTF. Fab Daddy says, in my judgment of this YouTube channel, I will say Jake is hard-headed, but puts on a great show. Hit the like button, son, and be part of the family. Well, I am hard-headed because I know what I'm talking about, and I don't like to be swayed very easily. If I weren't hard-headed, that would mean that I didn't know what I was talking about, and I could be swayed very easily, and you wouldn't like that very much. Believe me, you prefer me this way. That's like when I was in court one time, and the judge says, you just got to answer for everything, don't you? And I said, as opposed to what? Would you rather me sit up here being a driveling moron or have an answer for the question you asked? Does that make me less likely to be telling you the truth or what? Don't question me unless you want to answer. If you question me and expect me not to have an answer, you are doing something arbitrary and shouldn't be doing it. But thank you. And subscribe, says Fab Daddy. Yes, please do. Hit that like button. Share this video with somebody you love. Press the bell icon after you've pressed the subscribe button so you get notifications of when I'm going to be here. Share this video with everybody you love. Better yet, share it with everybody you hate. Bring them into the family. Make a part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I really want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you dig what you hear tonight and any other night, and you'd like to hear more of it, if you'd like to watch us grow into infinity and take over the whole world, one subscription at a time, if you want to help me do that, throw a Cash App, throw a Super Chat in the chat box, buy a t-shirt, join the channel, or go to paypal.me/JakeJohnsonBand, or if you're a Cash App user, $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It is a win-win. It helps me get where I'm going. It helps me pay the bills, and I do appreciate that. I will do everything in my power to be worthy of that support. I will answer all your questions and comments. I will be just hard-headed enough to prove to you that I know what I'm talking about. And I will be your friend. And now, let's get on to doing that. You had your chance. Stop it. Dana says, we all judge in our hearts. Judgment is good. We judge character. We are natural judges. Judgment is very good. Amanda says, damn people in rare form tonight. Linda Davis says, I wish you could like comments on here. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think you can do that on chat. You can like if somebody leaves a super chat, you can like that. Which I urge you all to do. If you can, if you dare, if you wish, if you wanna. Walter says the 70s is where AC/DC started. Right. But the 30s is where the idea came from. Amanda says, LOL. The other keychain would agree, Jake. Yep. What we got here? There you go. My favorite thing to do is you. Ha! Thanks for all the orgasms. Ha! Harley Davidson. Ah! Yep, my other keychain tells the truth too. Amanda says, I know, Linda. And Fab Daddy says, LOL, I doubt that's how you talk to the judge. It is not. That is exactly how I talk to the judge. That's how I talk to anybody who questions me, because I speak the truth. If you doubt me, you have a problem, not me. I absolutely talk to a judge that way. Matter of fact, I gave them a runaround for about 4.5 hours, and they were exhausted when they got done because they didn't expect me to come in fighting. I came in fighting. Maybe one day, if we have a intimate conversation, I'll tell you all about what that was about. It's not something I want to talk about on here, though. Rich S says, okay, I think I like Dana more than I did a minute ago. Dana's awesome. Fab Daddy says, potato chips. What's your flavor? Mine? Let's see. I like salt and vinegar. I like dill. I like anything sharp like that. I like the cheddar cheese. What do you call them? I think it's queso chips. Queso Ruffles. I think it's Ruffles. It's one of those anyway. And I like the Southern cheese Lay's. I like that kind of thing. And of course, corn chips. I like corn chips. Like Fritos. I know what I like. I like Fritos. Amanda says, OMG. Linda says, Dana is a beautiful, intelligent young woman. Beautiful, intelligent, talented, charming, honest. I'm just teasing. Amanda says, I absolutely agree, Linda. She is wonderful. Fab Daddy says, I'm going to the store. Linda says, Fab, what are you buying at the store? Inquiring minds want to know. Are you going to the liquor store? Is that what's happening? I am going for Fritos. Good choice, Fab Daddy. 3 ingredients. Corn chips, salt, and pepper. Right on. I don't know. I like all kinds of chips. I like ranch dressing or ranch dip. You know what I'm talking about? Funyuns are good. Sun Chips, Bugles. I like all of those. I also like those chips that have the skin on them. Like, I forget what they're called. It's a lady's name. Miss something or other. But they're like, one side of the chip has the skin on it. What? Miss Vickers. Yeah, I like Miss Vickers. Water, corn, and salt, says Fab Daddy. It's got pepper in it, too. Fritos has a lot of pepper in it. Matter of fact, you can buy regular flavored Fritos, those little bags. Get 2 of those little bags, pour them into a bowl or a pestle, and get a mortar and mash it into powder with a mortar and pestle, and bash it into powder, and then use that to bread chicken and fry your chicken in Fritos. It's already seasoned, and it's the perfect flavor for breading chicken. Try that. Miss Vickers, says Rich. Yes, that's the one. Fab Daddy says, I never heard of Miss Vickers. It's a good little chips. And they're kettle cooked. Right. I know a few Bickers, says Fab Daddy. Yep, no, Vickers with a V. The Vickers. And Amanda says, Miss Vicky. And Linda says, I used to love Bugles. I used to put them on my fingertips like a witch. Yes, I think everybody's done that. I like Bugles. They're kind of a simple thing, you know, simple little snack. There's no flavor. It's just what it does. I like those. I also like those little caramel candies with the white center, little cream in the middle. What do you call those things? I like those a lot. There's a thing called a cowtail that's basically the same thing, but it's a stick. But I like those little caramel candies. And I like Werther's Originals, or the ones with the cream in the center. I like those. And I like butterscotch. I'm a butterscotch junkie. Any kind of like butter rum, any butter flavored candy, I love it. They got a thing that looks like a Tootsie Roll, but it's butter rum. Those are awesome. The only time I ever see those is during Halloween, though. I don't even know where you can buy those at. Rich says, anyone like flaming hot Cheetos? Not me. I like hot Cheetos. I like the little hard ones. I don't like the puffs. I guess Cheetos. One's Cheeto Puffs and the other one's Cheetos. I like the little ones. Thank you, sweetheart. God bless you for doing God's work there. Amanda says peppermints for me. She's a peppermint junkie. I just bought 4 bags of peppermints today. I bought 2 bags of peppermints, 2 big bags of peppermints 2 days ago, and I had to buy 4 more today. Tell you anything? Amanda says, I just had Bugles the other day. Yeah, we did, didn't we? And Fab Daddy says, processed foods, I would starve without them. You need to learn how to kill something there, Fab Daddy. You need to go hunt something, kill it, skin it, cook it on an open flame, and claim it to God. Look, I've done this. Then you'll appreciate your food more. Linda says, Amanda likes mints. A lot. Sorry, my nose is itching again. Fab Daddy says, will you grow a victory garden? Will I grow a victory garden? No. I don't even know what that is. I can't grow anything. I have a brown thumb. Pardon me. Allergies. Rich says, I just started the carnivore diet. It's great. I feel terrific. I poop in 5 seconds and don't even need to wipe. I know. too much information. Do wipe. You do need to wipe. You might not think you do, but you need to wipe. I have also done the carnivore diet. It is good for you. And it is great for your skin and great for your energy level. That being said, once you reach equilibrium where your body is back functioning like it's supposed to and it isn't overindulged with having to burn fat, you need to put some vegetables back into your diet because your body needs fiber and it needs nutrients from the vegetables. But you could eat a super vegetable like kale or something like that, broccoli or spinach, something that's got a lot of stuff in it, and lower the number of intake that you use and just mostly eat meat. And I really think that's the way you're supposed to eat in the first place. But as I said many times before, and I'll say again, you do not need to eat every day. That's a habit, and we force ourselves to do that from birth. So it's a hard habit to break. But you can literally go a week without eating and not die. If you just ate a good meal every other day, you would survive and weight would fall off. But it's going to take you a little bit to get used to that because the body craves food when it doesn't have any. If you're used to eating every day, when your stomach gets a little empty, you'll feel the hunger pangs. But you have to push through that. And if you can ignore the hunger pangs, pretty soon they'll go away. But not immediately. But that hunger pang will make you panic because that's your body telling you you need to keep doing what you've been doing. You don't really need to, though. It's just a trick. Fab Daddy says, LOL, Rich. And Fab Daddy says, Victory Gardens are the best. I don't know what that is. What's it for? I assume victory, but victory over what? Or do you mean a little garden? Or is it one of those things you put inside your house? Little tub garden or whatever. I don't know what you mean by victory garden. And if we have a garden, it'll be because Amanda grows it because I can't grow anything. I don't have the patience or the understanding to make things grow. I understand a little bit about agriculture, but on a grand scale, not on a personal scale. I don't know about seeds and all that stuff. Planting times and that's all beyond me. I can hunt, I can kill, I can skin, and I can butcher. I don't need to grow anything. I'll leave the gathering to the gatherer, and I'll do the hunting. Amanda says, not true, Jake. You can grow something. A hell of a mustache. Well, that works by itself. I don't actually have to grow that. Fab Daddy says, peppermint helps Amanda digestion. She's digesting like a mofo. I can tell you that. Amanda says, it helps a lot of stuff, but I love the taste. Well, peppermint's actually good for you. Peppermint oil, it helps your joints and all kinds of stuff. It is good for you, but you can overdo anything. You can drink too much water and die. Just be careful. Linda says, Rich S., I'm Italian. Food is life. Amen. Rich says, that's right, Jake. Eat to live, not live to eat. Right. Well, I'm Italian. Food is life. I understand that sentiment, but you must also understand that you're talking about eating as a matter of a cultural position, something you grew up with. It's a part of your heritage. It's a thing that is deeply ingrained in you, but it's not necessary to survive. In the old days, when they would cross deserts on camels and stuff, they would take a loaf of bread, which was a hockey puck about this big around and hard as a brick. They'd literally bake it in the oven till it was hard. And so they just break a piece off and eat it. And then they would take a piece of jerky, like sun-dried beef or something. Probably wasn't beef, it was probably lamb. But they would dry the meat and then put it in a bag, and they just take it out and take a bite of it. And that's what they lived on for weeks. So one bite a day. couple of bites a day. Whenever you get hungry, take a bite. One loaf of bread. And you could go for weeks with that. That's why Christ said man cannot live by bread alone, because it's spiritual sustenance that you require on a daily basis, but meat, not so much. Fab Daddy says Victory Garden started in England during WW2. Cool. Fab Daddy says, remember ration stamps? Yes, I do remember that. Rich S says, right, Linda, food is at the center of family. I thought God was at the center of family, but I hear you. Linda says, I show love by cooking and providing good food for people I love. I understand that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're having health issues, remember that eating makes you die. So if you want to stop dying, you have to stop eating. And it'll slow that process. It won't, you can't avoid dying. You're going to eventually. But when you eat, you digest. And when you digest, you're literally transferring part of you out of you. And replenishing. And it becomes a vicious cycle, right? So if you can widen that gap and not do that as often, more things can occur that aren't you processing food. Does that make any sense? Sorry, that's going to drive me crazy. I apologize for touching my nose, but I got that little tickle. It's just a tickle, man. I think I'm allergic to dander, and I think my puppy is causing my nose to itch. That's what I think the problem is. Whew. Amanda says, right, Linda, me too. Well, it's a beautiful thing, especially a female in the home that puts a touch on the home that a man cannot provide. You just can't do that. Men don't possess that quality, but you do. And when you do that, when you provide your food for someone you love, you're actually causing the home to be functional, which is a gift. It's a beautiful thing. Don't ever apologize for that. That's doing it the way God intended it. Fab Daddy says sugar was the first ration the United States mandated. I did not know that, but it doesn't surprise me. The United States has always been a little suspect in the market area. Look at the food pyramid if you think I'm wrong. Just really look at that thing, analyze it, knowing what you know today. And you'll be surprised that it's upside down, that they're telling you how to get sick. If you ate like the food pyramid suggested you to eat, you would die probably almost immediately. You definitely have diabetes in a heartbeat, and liver cancer and everything else. Don't listen to the food pyramid. It's wrong. It's actually upside down. And some of the things don't need to be there at all, such as dairy products. Those are not necessary for survival. They're good, but they will hurt you. So is breads and white things. Anything white is not good for you. I live by a rule of thumb, or I try to live by a rule of thumb. I'm not very successful at it, but I don't eat anything that doesn't rot, and I don't eat anything that doesn't come out of the ground, or I don't eat anything that isn't killed and skinned and prepared. Those three things. Also don't eat things with scales or fins, and I don't eat things that have a split hoof. And choose to cut. Well, there you go. Dana says kitchen is the heart of the home. Amen. I agree. Linda says, I guess I'm going to die happy. Just kidding. I hear you. I know what you're saying. Rich says straight sugar is the enemy of the temple. I understand that they say it's not good for you. I've never had any issues. And I drink a lot of sugar. A lot. I've never had a single issue. I don't even gain weight from eating sugar. But that's me, and I may be different than other people. I don't know. But I understand that they say sugar's poison. I can't imagine not sugar. I've tried. I've tried to imagine life without sugar, and I couldn't do it. I have to have some sweet and some savory in my meals. As far as I'm concerned, the jury is out on whether sugar is poisonous or not. I think if you're eating healthy cane sugar, I don't think there's any problem. I think the problem is high fructose corn syrup, which is now widely used in place of sugar. I think that's a problem. I also think artificial sweeteners are a problem. But pure cane sugar or the sugar that comes from a fruit, I can't see why that's bad for you. Amanda says, absolutely, Dana. And Fab Daddy says, 2 and 5. See you later. Be kind. Rewind. My phone battery is dead. Well, be sure to invite us to the wake. We'll attend the funeral. And my condolences. I'm sorry for your loss. And we love you. And we'll see you Friday night. And I'm about to go to bed, too. It's 11:30 already. I didn't realize it was so late. I've been having such a great conversation with you guys. I'm over here getting all lightheaded and crusty-eyed, about to fall asleep on you. Amanda says, good night, Fab Daddy. And I'd die without cheese and milk. I don't think you would. I think you'd be much more healthy without cheese and milk. But that's just me. Linda says, my son leaves the dinner table every night and thanks me for the dinner and tells me it was good and hugs me and says I love you. And that's a wonderful feeling. I always make sure to kiss the cook every time I eat. Never fail. A little peck on the forehead, that's all you need. Show a little appreciation for the food that you've received. It is a wonderful feeling. I suppose, ask Amanda if she likes it. And Amanda says, oh, Linda, Jake kisses my forehead and says thank you and how delicious it was, too. I love it. See? And Dana says, Linda Davis, that is very lovely. Yes, it is. And Linda says, forehead kisses are the best. And I agree 100%. There's nothing like a good forehead kiss. That says love better than anything in the world. My mama used to hold me and kiss me on the forehead, and I've loved it ever since. It's a very intimate, very emotional thing to do. And they are the best. And Amanda says, yes, Linda, he opens all the doors for me, too. He's a gentleman. Shh, don't tell people that. I'm trying to convince them that I'm a toxic, masculine, patriarchal male. I am a gentleman. All right. That's the bottom of the chat, and I'm tired, so I'm going to bed. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you very much. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chat, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys on Friday. I love you with all my heart. I enjoyed the conversation. I hope you did, too. Dana says, back in the day, man used to kiss ladies' hands. I think it was beautiful. Amanda says, yes, Dana. Linda says, I will be going out Friday night, so I will see you all Saturday. Well, God bless you. I hope you have a good time Friday night. And yes, Dana, the hand kiss is a very gentlemanly thing to do, and unfortunately, chivalry is, they've tried to kill it with everything they could muster for the past 2 decades. So I don't know if that one's going to come back or not, but it's a shame. It's a shame that we lost that. Linda says, I love you too all. Good night. Mwah. Or love to you all. Good night. And Amanda says, have fun, Linda. And Dana says, heart. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for the conversation. I'm out. Thanks for watching.